Hello and welcome to Vegas Ace's free course on Let It Ride. I'm your host, Heather Ferris, and on this video, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about Let It Ride. This includes the fundamental mechanics required to deal this game, determining a winner, paying and taking bets, game security, as well as other policies and procedures. This full version is a collection of smaller videos I recently did and put together in this Let It Ride compilation. Let It Ride is a carnival game that the casino uses as a promotional game in order to draw people into the pit and get them excited about gambling. Because of this, the casino wants their dealers to be more inviting and outgoing and be prepared to instruct players on how to play the game and answer any questions that they might have. Let It Ride is based on the poker game 5-card stud, which means that it uses a traditional 52-card deck. The object of the game is to get a pair of tens or higher out of the 5 cards that are available for the player to use. Players are only betting that they'll get a ranking hand, and they're not betting against the dealer or any of the other players. Traditional poker rankings will apply. The player has 3 mandatory bets that they must place at the start of the game. Check to make sure that all 3 bets are in place and are of an equal amount to each other, and are between the minimum and maximum limits for the table. Players are only allowed to bet on one spot at a time, and no more. The guest will place their wager on the betting circle with the numbers 2, 1, and the cash symbol showing. The cash symbol betting circle is considered to be the main bet, and the additional 2 wagers have to be of an equal amount. During this time, if the player wants to tip the dealer, then they can place the tip in front of the cash betting circle only. Dealers aren't allowed to accept tips on the other 2 betting circles. Keep in mind that there is usually a maximum amount that the player can bet for you. If the tip is $25 or more, then verify with your floorman that this amount is between the minimum and maximum. The bonus is an optional side bet that the player can choose to play. If the player hasn't bet the bonus already, then kindly point to it and ask the player if they would like to play. They can only bet $1 on the bonus, no more or no less. Because of the bonus bet, it's usually good to get in the habit of giving players between $5 and $10 in $1 checks, especially when they cash in for $100. During the course of the game, it's good to keep an eye on their checks and make sure that they have a steady supply of dollars. Remember, you want them to have as many dollars as a Las Vegas stripper. After all the players have had the opportunity to bet, look at the sensor lamps and make sure they're illuminated for all of the players who decided to place $1 on them. Once you've inspected all the bets for a second time, press the lockout button on the keypad. Collect all of the bets and place them in your bank. Sometimes you'll have a few procrastinators on the table. Players who will wait until you've put the chips away, have already pressed the lockout key, and are just about to deal the cards before deciding that they want to bet on the bonus after all. No worries. Have the player place their bonus bet and then press the lockout key again. Collect the bet and then continue with the hand. Remember, you can only do this if the cards haven't been dealt out yet. The lockout key will be disabled after the shuffle machine has dealt out the first hand. Sometimes the bonus sensors don't light up when the player puts the $1 bonus bet on it. Depending on your casino, this could go a couple of different ways. Some casinos will want you to notify your floorman, who will then tell the table that the position is no longer available for bonus play. Other casinos will offer an on-off button for the customers. Majority of the dealers like this because if a player is being difficult, then they can just lean over and turn them off. Ha! I wish. In reality, if the light isn't working, then after the dealer takes the player's bonus bet, they will put a lammer on the sensor with the on side facing up. This shows the cameras that the light is on and has been on since the beginning of the hand. If a player decides not to bet on the bonus, then place the lammer on the off side facing up so the cameras can see it. After all of the players have finished betting, take the deck out of the discard rack and place it in the shuffle machine. The shuffler will automatically spit out 3 cards, and the dealer will start from the left and go to the right, and deliver the cards face down and slightly spread, continuing until every player has a hand. Once the first hand has been dealt, no bets can be altered. Then the dealer will get their cards, which are actually the community cards. The top card of the stack will be placed in the rectangle on the left side, and the middle card will be placed in the rectangle on the right side, and the bottom card will be placed in the discard rack. Be careful not to expose the bottom card. At this point, if you don't have a full table, then you'll have to press the green start button on the shuffle machine, and that will spit out the remaining cards. Place the remaining cards in the discard rack. If the cards come out and the bonus lights start flashing, or if someone has an incorrect number of cards, then this is a misdeal. Call over your floorman immediately and then announce a misdeal to the table. The floor will instruct you to pick up all of the cards. These shuffle machines have an automatic counter in them, and every time they shuffle, they count the cards to make sure there's a total of 52. If the green button is lit, then the count is accurate and the dealer can proceed as normal. If the light is red and the bonus lights start flashing, then you know it's a misdeal. Only players seated at the table are allowed to handle the cards. The cards must always be within the railing and in full view at all times. Players are not allowed to take the cards over the edge of the layout. Players cannot take the casino cards home with them, toss their cards at the dealer, or eat their cards, although I have seen this happen once or twice. The player is only allowed to look at their 3 cards, and the dealer's 2 community cards, and no other cards. Players cannot communicate or expose their cards to any of the other players on the table. The reason why is because it changes the house edge in favor of the players. So if you have a full table and everyone is sharing their cards, then the house advantage goes from 3.51% down to 2.34%. So if your players are showing each other their cards, then politely tell them that this is not allowed. Caution players in a courteous manner and use good judgment and flexibility when enforcing this rule. If the player continues, call over the floorman. Now, starting from the left side and going right, politely ask the players if they would like to let it ride, while holding your palm open and facing upward, pointing at their wager. If the player scratches the table, then they don't want to let it ride, and they want their bet returned. With your forefinger and middle finger, make a V shape and push back the player's bets. Your fingers are in this position so that way the cameras are able to see the wager at all times. Do not grab, palm, or cover the bets. Also, don't flip it or toss the wager back to the player. Every casino is different, and there are some casinos that want you to push the bet back with your palm open and facing upward, and your fingers together like this. Make sure you know your house rules. If the player tucks their cards, then they want to let it ride. Don't touch their wager. Instead, move on to the next player. Players aren't allowed to change their mind once the dealer has moved on to the next player. Remember, keep this game moving at a good pace, but you also want to be careful not to rush the players. That's why it's good to use subtle, silent gestures. Point at the player with your palms open and facing upward and your fingers together. Make eye contact with the player, and these silent gestures will go a long way to keeping the game moving in a polite way. If a player is taking his time, you can always ask him, "Would you like to let it ride?" After all the players have made their decision, the dealer will flip over the community card that's located in the rectangle on the left-hand side. Now it's time for the second round. Again, starting from the left and going to the right, the dealer will ask the players if they want to let it ride. After the player has made their final decision, then have them tuck their cards under their final bet before moving on. Once everyone has finished with their hand, the dealer will flip over the last community card, therefore ending the round. Now it's time to determine a winner. Starting from the right-hand side or third base and going left, expose the player's hand by flipping it over and spreading the cards far enough that the cameras can see them clearly. Using the player's 3 cards and the dealer's 2 community cards, The player will get paid based on their 5-card poker ranking. Determine if the player has a qualifying hand of a pair of 10s or higher, and then pay them according to the odds listed on the pay table. Each bet that the player left up will get paid the odds for that hand. If the bet was withdrawn, then it doesn't get paid. If the player has less than a pair of 10s, then all Let It Ride wagers left in action will lose. Always pay the player's bet first and then the dealer's toke bet. Yes, I know that new law just passed, and yes, I know it's legal, but when I say toke bet, I was not talking about this, so please don't bring it on the table. Tokes are another word for tips. In some casinos, winning toke bets are only paid even money and must be taken down as soon as the hand is over. Dealers' tokes are not allowed to be parlayed. Winning toke bets must be tapped quietly once or twice on the rack before being dropped. Always thank the player for the bet regardless of win or loss. Next is the bonus bet, and that gets paid according to the posted pay table. If the guest played the bonus bet and won, then before paying the customer, enter in the key that represents the player's position on the device next to the shuffle machine. After that, press the key that represents the ranking poker hand that they received and pay the bet according to the posted pay table. Press the Enter key before giving the player their winning checks. If the player got a straight flush or a royal flush, then call over your floor immediately. On maximum payouts, management will be the ones to compute the payoff. After the end of the hand, reset the keypad by pressing the Game Over key. Otherwise, lockout will not allow players to bet on the bonus during the next cycle. I know some of these terms might be a little confusing to the average gamer, but I assure you that there is no Game Over button on your keypad. I mean, just imagine the horror of accidentally pressing it and losing all of your unsaved progress. Oh my god. As soon as you're finished with the hand, pick up all of the cards and place them in the desired rack. Once all of that has been completed, take the cards and perform a typical house shuffle. Place the deck in the shuffle machine and press the green shuffle button to start a new cycle. Game security should always be at the forefront of your mind when dealing. This means being alert to irregular play, watching the players' hands for any unusual movement, listening to what the players are saying, being aware of the betting amounts on first and third base, keeping your eyes on the layout, and generally just being aware of what's going on around you. Make sure you complete all transactions before going on your break. Plus, you'll always want to continuously check the cards throughout the course of the game, making sure they're not marked or altered in any way. If you notice anything suspicious, call over your floorman immediately. Dealers will also need to know their house procedure when it comes to changing the deck. Typically, the deck will need to be changed every 2 hours, when opening the table or at the discretion of management. The floor will bring over a new deck of cards and open them in front of the dealer. The floor will then check both the front and the back of the cards, looking for any marks, flaws, defects, missing, blanks, duplicates, or anything along those lines. After they finish inspecting it, they'll place the cards in the discard rack. The dealer will then take the deck out, spreading it on the table, and verifying to the camera that all cards are present and accounted for, clean of any marks, flaws, or defects. Then the dealer will do the same thing to the back of the cards. After that, the dealer will wash the deck. No, wash the deck the casino way. One of the reasons why dealers wash the deck is to assure players and the camera that the order of the cards are purely random. Then the dealer will complete the house shuffle. Load the deck in the automatic shuffle machine and press the shuffle button. Remember, you must complete a house shuffle after every hand. An example of a house shuffle would be riffle, strip, riffle. Depending on what house you work in, after a player receives a large payoff, you may either be required to wash and shuffle the deck, or you'll just receive new cards altogether. If there are no players on your table, then spread the cards face down in a half circle. Keep in mind that the casino doesn't like it when you try to be creative with the cards, making fun little images and shapes out of them. I should know. I was sort of reprimanded enough times for it. Now, let's turn it over to you guys. Have you ever dealt Let It Ride before? What do you think of it? Do you like dealing it? Could you take it or leave it? Or are you one of those dealers that goes around calling it Let It Die? Let me know what your experiences are in the comments section below. Do you have any questions about casino games? Do you need any expert guidance with a specific project that you have in mind? Or are you an aspiring dealer who needs individual help with dealing mechanisms for a particular table game? I can help you out. I offer general consulting services, and all you have to do is email me at heather@vegas-aces.com to get started. If you like this video and you want to help keep our content free for everyone, then become a Patreon patron. We have several different levels and rewards that you could choose from. And by supporting Vegas Aces, you'll also be supporting free education. And you'll be helping people all around the world get a job and provide for their families. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter, remember to subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.